Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Rocket Rambles, where I take a topic and I ramble about it. It's going to be a semi-scripted series where I go off some notes that I have written beforehand and then just flesh them out while I'm recording, kind of similar to those commentary videos I did a while back as a bit of experimentation. I'm just going to try to make it a regular series, hopefully once a week, but that's being optimistic. We'll see what happens. This first episode will be about the new movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I saw in the theater around 3 or 4 days ago. This is my first experience with the TMNT franchise. I've known about it ever since I was a kid, but I've just never watched anything from it until now. Not because I wasn't interested. I guess it is because I wasn't interested. But I've always thought they looked cool, so I'm really glad that I'm finally diving into it here. The trailers for this one really caught my interest due to the animation style. I love all these Spider-Verse visual spin-offs we're getting, like with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish getting a more watercolor aesthetic, and now this one going for a sketchy style. It's so good. Then all the reviews came in and they were super positive, so I figured, hey, this could be a fun movie to go to the theater and give it a watch. So I bought a ticket and I went to see it, and okay. Everyone I've talked to is in love with this movie, and I wish I was, but I'm gonna be honest, to me, this is just fine. It's not bad. I liked it, but fair warning, this will be a semi-spoiler review, and by that I mean I'm not going to get into serious plot details, but I will be discussing a few things that happen and also some things that characters say and all that stuff. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't think watching this would totally ruin the experience, but it may reveal a few things that you don't know, so just play it safe, I guess. Before I ramble about the bad stuff, I'm gonna go over the positives. This animation style is amazing, or I guess I should say, it's kind of ugly, but I love that. It's willing to have this grotesque character designs and a dirty city and unpolished effects, and I love it. There's so much personality. That first scene where you see the guy who made Superfly and his face is all disfigured and weird looking, that's when I was sold on the visual style, just from the first few minutes of the movie. Just it's so willing to just break all of the conventional rules. It's willing to be ugly, and I love it. I want more gross animated films like this. Ones that aren't afraid to not be super polished and get more abstract, like a kid's sketchbook or something, which I've heard was the inspiration for this movie, a sketchbook style, it's just a kid doodling this, and hey, that's cool, that's a good inspiration. Also, I thought the entire cast of characters was pretty likable and charming. None of them do anything illogical to their characters, and oftentimes they've got fun banter between each other. Like I said before, I've never watched anything TMNT in my life, so I don't know if these depictions are lore accurate or whatever, but on its own, I think this movie has some solid characters. You've got this whole sibling vibe from the Turtles, and they have a lot of sweet moments together, and I thought April was a nice mix to the group when she was introduced. The only thing I found really weird was Leo's crush on April, which I've been told has been done in other incarnations, but does that make it good? Is it good that this is here? Because the movie plays it off as a joke, which is fine, I guess. But if this ever got serious, well, let's just say I'm having war flashbacks to 2006, where a human woman and a mutant alien man had a romantic relationship, and it didn't go so well. And speaking of things that this franchise has apparently done before, which I don't think are good, the references. Oh my goodness. I've had issues in the past with movies being too reliant on pop culture or trends to make up their comedy, but this might actually be the worst example of it I have ever seen in any movie ever. Basically every other line the Turtles say is a reference. They monologue about Mark Ruffalo's performance in Avengers Endgame for some reason. Professor Hulk sucks, okay? So why are you praising it? And then they talk about going to an Adele concert for some reason. And then they use Attack on Titan as part of their battle strategy for some reason. I've never seen Attack on Titan before, so I don't know how good the reference was, but someone else who I know who has seen it has also seen Attack on Titan, and they said it was cringe. Not Attack on Titan, the reference. So I don't know what to make of it. None of these references are necessary, and they will age the movie so badly. And then to try to capture how teenagers talk, they try to use a bunch bunch of hip modern slang like sus. They say sus, like from Among Us. 2 years after that meme died. I know some teens still say it, but come on, that is like one of the easiest ways to date your movie by saying sus. And then they also say Riz. They talk about Leo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, having Riz. Why? Hearing those words just takes me out of the movie and makes me think I'm watching some YouTube parody. I'm not sure how watchable this movie will be in 20 years when all of this stuff is completely outdated and forgotten, which sucks because now you've attached this incredible, timeless animation style to a movie that's a ticking time bomb of relevancy. I've been told the franchise always makes super specific time period references, but like with the Leo and April thing, is that a good tradition to carry on? Can't you capture hip teen energy in ways that won't so horribly age your film and require future viewers to take a course in 2023 pop culture? Spider-Verse does it just fine, so a TMNT movie could too. Sometimes it's good to evolve a series to get rid of elements that are bad or may make it less accessible in the future. You can change things up without destroying the core of a franchise. Would people really complain if this was the exact same movie, except without the references to Drake and BTS? I don't think so. And before I get into my issues with the plot and character arcs, I have a little side tangent regarding another thing the characters say a lot, and that is swears. This movie is rated PG, but has like a solid 6 or 7 serious swears in there. I know earlier this year Across the Spider-Verse got away with like 3, but that didn't bother me too much, seeing that it was trying to be a more mature film. Mutant Mayhem is aimed for a way younger audience, and yet has almost twice the language. Why is that? Call me old-fashioned, but I don't think kids need to hear this. Cut these words out or just replace them with substitutes, and just like with the references, nothing changes. And it gets even worse when you check the official soundtrack, which has like explicit swears in the titles of some of the tracks, which like, why? Why was that necessary? Like, it's the soundtrack, just give it normal names. To me, it just seems like them trying to be artificially cool, like, ooh, we said swear words in a kid's movie, we're so edgy, which is cheap to me. All it does is limit your audience. If I had kids, I wouldn't show them this movie so they didn't learn any words too early. But that's not my main issue with the film. My main issue is with how obvious this movie is with its themes. It carries no subtlety or nuance. It's just, hi, we're turtles and we want to be accepted. Plus, hi, I'm their rat dad and I hate humans because they were mean to me. And then the obvious conflict between rebellious teens and an overprotective dad plays out. And then they resolve these arcs in the most on-the-nose way possible. To avoid giving away too much to people who haven't seen the movie, there's a scene where one character says something that another character said earlier in the movie, and this is their catalyst for them completely changing their lives because they don't want to be like that other character. It's the most cliche, we're not so different you and I, moment I've ever seen. All of the struggles they face are superficial, they never truly get tested, and everything is resolved in the easiest and safest way possible from a screenwriting perspective. It has nothing unique to say about the subjects it tackles, they're just there to push the plot along. And this plot has too many mutants causing mayhem. You already run into trouble with 4 turtles serving as co-leads, but then they introduce like 7 more mutants that are all fighting for screen time. I don't remember any of their names or characteristics except for the blue lizard guy, and all I remember is that like he was the cool one. He was like rad and hip. I don't even know his name. He was just the cool guy. I don't dislike any of the characters, like I said earlier in this ramble, but I wish the movie chose a few to focus on instead of throwing everything against the wall. The turtles feel weirdly sidelined in their own film, where they all just share one character arc and then have one distinguishing personality trait. Why couldn't they have focused less on the other mutants to give the individual turtles some moments to have their own arcs or defining moments? Because, as is, you could just fuse every turtle into one character, and basically nothing would change, aside from losing some of their brotherly scenes, which are nice. There's also a random human villain shoved into the story that takes the plot on a weird detour for like 5 minutes. I'm not even sure why it's there. I guess just to set up a potential sequel and pay off a weird running gag. And I'm sure everyone who saw the movie knows the scene I'm talking about, so I won't say what it is just for people that haven't seen the movie, but like, huh? Was that supposed to be funny? Was it funny to anyone else? Maybe it's just not my sense of humor. I didn't get it. So yeah, you've got all these characters fighting for screen time, which results in everyone feeling underdeveloped, which is a shame because like I said, they all had charming moments and potential to carry more prominent roles. I wish the film would have cut the roster in half and given those characters more focus, or made some of them background characters instead of part of a huge side cast. And with that, I think that's everything. For a number score, I'd give this like a 6, which is still a positive score. I enjoyed the movie enough, but it's also got a ton holding it back for me personally. I'm guessing if I watch this again in a few years, I'd probably give it a 5 due to how outdated the references will be by that point. But if you rate this movie higher than a 6, cool, that's great, it's a fun movie. But for me personally, it's a 6, and different opinions are okay. I'd honestly recommend you check this movie out just solely for the visuals, or if you don't want to spend money on a ticket, just watch some clips on YouTube and just admire how cool it looks. I will say, I'm actually interested in checking out more TMNT content after this movie to see how the rest of the franchise compares to this. I haven't heard anything too great about any of the other movies, but I know most of the TV shows are held in high regard, so maybe I'll check some of them out eventually. I don't know which one I'll start with, but I guess I'll just pick one and go. I've heard Rise is good. Maybe I'll start with that. Before I end the video, I have one more silly little thing to discuss about the movie, and that is the Mr. Beast cameo. Yeah, in case you didn't know, Mr. Beast is in this movie. I was expecting him to like show up in the film, it's Mr. Beast, whoa! Seeing how willing this movie was to reference so many other pop culture things, like, maybe have one of the turtles watch one of his Squid Game videos or something. But to my surprise, it was an actual cameo. He just voiced a random human. I totally missed it in the movie. I had to look up the scene afterwards to hear it. I respect the movie for not shoving Mr. Beast on screen, but also, I don't know, I kind of wish they did. It would have been the funniest thing in the entire movie, seeing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle watching Mr. Beast. That sounds like a true YouTube parody. And since half this movie already feels like a YouTube parody, like just go for it. Just go full absurdism with this. Put Mr. Beast in it. I don't care. Well, I am done rambling for now. Leave your own ramble in the comments below. Do you think Mutant Mayhem has lots of riz, or is it too sussy for you? That's so stupid. Thank you for listening to my ramble, and I hope you come back for the next one. Hopefully there is a next one. I want this to be a weekly thing. We'll figure out. Okay, bye.